Council to order, regular meeting June 10th, 2024, 6 p.m. at the time and places advertised. Our next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and our Sergeant at Arms, Captain Cologne, has graciously agreed to lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Our next order of business is citizen comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on agenda items or other items they wish to bring to the attention of the council. Citizens are encouraged to discuss operational issues in advance with the mayor. In consideration of others wishing to speak, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Also, the Lewiston City Council pledges to practice and promote civility within the governing body, advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of the city of Lewiston. With that, I would invite anyone that is here to offer citizen comments to step up to the podium, introduce yourself and just your city of residence. We do not need your physical address, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the council. So with that, I would invite any citizens. Yes, sir, please.
If it is or not. My name is James Tucker. I lived in this valley for 41 years.
Can you get up against the mic there, James? Thank you.
Oh, is that better?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. I've been in this valley for 41 years, and I have seen a lot of stuff in this valley that I think in the city department is not working with on cleaning up all the garbage that floats around on everywhere and then some. I have pictures that shows everything that Gun Club Road and Highway 12, all those places that I have picked up garbage and put in big orange bags for the city department of Lewiston. My problem is we have people that is living in vans now that lives right by the city department or down by the city center. I know they have problems with homeless people. I know what I'm trying to say is, like the veterans cannot get a good shake. I've been ran over by a drunk driver and broke a hip and femur and still trying to survive that. And then still living in a tent somewhere else because I cannot afford the rent in this place. I mean, there's places that have places around here that are empty. Why can't they use one or two of those buildings for the homeless, a food shelter that will people get food? That's what I can tell you. I mean, I can, I don't want to send any pictures that I have off to Boise because we can't get nothing done up down here. Yeah, I love helping out, picking up garbage everywhere, but there's sometimes when you see a piece of property that got 300 feet off the road that they have garbage that's built up into places that people go hunting and, fishing and stuff like that. I have seen it. I don't like it. I mean, I'm the only one that's out there trying to pick it all out, even on private property. I understand about the Private Property Act, but, when you see something and it's like, man, can't they pick this up? Dead dog on the road. I mean, come on. I have put bags over a dead dog because I didn't want the buses go by and see a dead dog. The kids seeing that. But that's basically what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you very much for being here tonight and for your service too. We appreciate that. Thank you. Are there other citizen comments tonight? Okay. If not, then we will move on to Roman numeral 4, public hearings and related action items. Item A, public hearing 2024 CDBG action plan accepting testimony on the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan. And we have with us here tonight our grant manager, Melinda Rose, who will walk us through that. The way the public hearing process will work is I will open the public hearing. We'll have a staff presentation from our grant manager and then accept any testimony from the public. If you have any, it will be limited to 3 minutes. Council, you will have the opportunity to ask questions of the staff and applicant and/or persons providing testimony. No additional evidence or testimony may be received once the public hearing is closed. So that will be the time to ask any questions that you might have. And so with that, I will open the public hearing and turn it over to our grant manager, Melinda Rose. And Melinda, if you'd please just introduce yourself for the record and remember to speak up loudly and clearly into the microphone so those at home listening online can hear what you have to say. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Melinda Rose, City Manager, no. Grants Manager for the city. I'm bringing before you the CDBG Action Plan. And as a reminder, the Community Development Block Grant Program is funded by HUD. And the city of Lewiston is considered an entitlement community, which means we receive allocation based on our population and some of our social numbers. And so this action plan is required to determine what we will be using those funds for this next year. Our program year begins August 1st, and so that's why you see the date of August 1st through July 31st of 2025. The city received notification that our allocation for this year will be $254,824. We anticipate receiving about $300,000 or $30,000 from program income, and that is from previous loans that we have given for home repair programs. And so when those payments are made, they come in as program income. We estimate rolling over about $150,000. That may be a little less at this point because of some overruns on our home repair program for this previous year that we're closing out. So we're anticipating having about $434,824 to disperse. We did have an application period. We received applications. We went through those, scored them, and then determined how to disperse those funds. So with the administration, home repair program, and micro enterprise grant program, we set aside $145,965. Then we have the remaining $288,000 to allocate towards those applications that we received. 7 applications were received with $430,357 being requested. The public service activities are limited to 15% of our allocation, so we kind of have to limit how much is awarded to applications that are for public services. And the selection and award amount is based on the available funding, evaluation criteria, program priorities, and allowable costs and activities as defined by HUD. So some of the applications came in that had activities and costs identified that aren't allowable. So we work through that as we negotiate the agreements with those applicants. And this is how it kind of filtered out, that $50,965 for administration and $60,000 for home repair. I will go through the different applications and project summaries. Hope to set aside $35,000 for micro enterprise. The micro enterprise and the home repair programs were both very successful in 2023. program year, and so we felt it important to set aside funding for those programs this upcoming year as well. Salvation Army, we would like to award $5,000 to provide support for the acquisition of food supplies, volunteer coordination, training, oversight, and outreach. I don't think I need to read all of these slides to you, so I will just go through them, and then as we have questions, we'll answer them. Lewiston Independent School District for Homelessness Services, we would like to award $15,000 to provide housing and services for people experiencing at risk of homelessness. LC Valley Cares, formerly known as the LC Valley Adult Resource Center, we'd like to award $10,000 to provide housing and services for people experiencing or at risk of homelessness. We would like to award $5,000 to provide minor modifications to help elders and those with disabilities live safely at home. Family Promise, $50,000 to provide housing for services for people experiencing at risk of homelessness. Skyview Estates, they're the owners of the Mountain View Mobile Home Park, and they are rehabilitating that mobile home park. And we would like to award $100,000 towards that project. The LC Valley Youth Resource Center is proposing to create a tiny village for young adults. We would like to award $100,000 towards that project. So the home repair program is we award grants up to $20,000 for low to moderate income homeowners to assist them with rehabilitation costs in their homes. And of course, administration and planning, that funding goes towards training and lead-based paint testing. We now have to do radon testing, all that fun stuff. So that's where that funding goes towards. Micro enterprise, $35,000 for micro enterprise activities. We did have a public comment period that we opened up on May 11th. It closes today. So the next steps moving forward would be accepting comments today, city council review and hopefully approval. Once that's approved, it goes to HUD for review and approval, and then once that is approved, we can issue comments. There with questions. Or you would like to have public comment?
I think we'll take some public comment if there is any, and then open it up for questions from the council. That way they'll have all the information they might need. So with that, I would invite anyone from the public that would like to provide testimony. Again, your comments will be limited to 3 minutes in length. State your name and city of residence. And
Also brought hand
remember to speak up loudly and clearly into the microphone.
I think you have. Oh, that one? Okay, sure, absolutely. Thank you, Council. My name is Michelle King, and I am a Lewiston resident. I serve as a volunteer president of the LC Valley Youth Resource Center. And first and foremost, I want to thank you and the city for considering our application towards terraforming for the village property. We're in an exciting stage with this. I just shared maps, the newest, latest, and greatest. You'll notice that they are custom designed in PowerPoint because we are at that fun part where you're like, hey, how about this? And what about that? But the big piece of tonight's activity that you won't see on these maps is it's all about terraforming for dry wells and French drains and mitigating flood risks. We know this property floods, but there are many steps that we can take to address that. And so this is exactly what we're asking for resources for to help provide for that. I only have 3 minutes, so I'll be very brief. I just want to say that many of our board members and I are here for questions for you as you move through this process, and thank you again.
Thank you, Michelle. Other public testimony, CDBG program? If not, councilors, questions for either Ms. King or Grant Manager Rose? Councilor Spicklemeyer.
Thank you, Mayor. So on your, I can't figure out if it's number 8 or whatever, like the Skyview Estates LLC where you give them 100,000, how is that managed?
As far as monitoring goes, or
Who gets the money?
so the way that the funding plays out is once the grants are awarded to the recipients, then they request funding to be paid to them. It's not done to them in a lump sum. It's done in a matter of, they have invoices, then we give them funding for that invoice.
So I guess my question is does it go to the homeowner or does it go to the park owner?
The park owner is the applicant. So the applicants would be the recipients of that funding.
My name is Fred Fickenworth, Lewiston, and my son is the applicant. And he is with the dance troupe down at Disneyland with all the little girls right now. So he sent me to answer questions. And the story is that he and his wife have 45 for-profit units around town, rentals. He lives down the street from this trailer park, a block away, and has been disgusted by what he sees down there. And he and his wife decided to buy the trailer park. I mean, it was so run down. There were trailers that were burned, half burned, totally uninhabitable. And there were 6 units that were uninhabitable out of the 30. And the rest were in such condition that people had buckets under their kitchen sink to catch the wastewater, and then they would take it, throw it outside because of the condition of the plumbing in these trailers that are 1960s era trailers. So he and his wife decided to take it on. Mom and Dad came in the back seat as co-signers of the loan, the $1.6 million loan to buy this trailer park. All the trailers are owned by the park. None are owned by homeowners. And so it's basically like apartment rentals is what it's like. And the goal over time is to replace all the trailers. Right now, 4 of the 32 he has replaced at his own expense just from the cash flow. There is zero profit from this project. They have not taken a penny of profit from this project and do not intend to until this park is completely rebuilt from ground up. This money would probably mostly go for infrastructure. Water, sewer, gas, electricity, all has to be replaced. That entire park is fed with all 32 units with a 1-inch PVC line, water line, to feed 32 houses. And the power poles are falling down and crumbling right now. It's an unpaved lot. It's all muddy in the winter. It needs to be paved. And the goal is to replace these homes one by one and eventually be able to sell them to homeowners as low-income housing. How is this going to happen? He's become a dealer for a mobile home manufacturer and can buy them at wholesale. And he can bring them up, set them in place. And right now, at the current cost, we can do a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 900 square feet, for a selling price of $120,000 in today's market. And that is the goal, is to be able to provide low-income housing. And that is where this is going, is for infrastructure improvements to get us to that point where we can do that. Like I said, not a penny has gone into profit. maybe 30 years down the road when he retires and he wants to sell it, there would be profit at that point. But at this point, nothing has gone into profit. It's 100% reinvested into making the park better and improving the homes, replacing the homes. There's many, like I said, they're all 60s and 70s vintage. It's a blight. It's an absolute blight, but it's getting better.
Thank you, Fred. Counselor Spickelmeyer.
So I guess a follow on to you then. So with the grant money, the results of the grant money wouldn't result in any cost increase to the tenants?
No, not at all. There are natural cost increases as property taxes go up and that sort of thing, but not because of the grant, certainly.
Normally with improvements comes increased in
Right. Well, like I say, the goal is to replace the homes and then make them available to purchase to these people. Some would still have rentals too, but people are asking, can I buy one? You know, they want to buy one. And these new homes are up to standards. We're talking 2x6 construction on these. They're not the old mobile home style. These are 2x6 construction with all the insulation requirements of a brand new stick-built home. So they're very well built, very well insulated.
Counselor Forsman.
Question for you. Have we seen an uptake or an increase in applicants this year compared to the following years?
This is my first year in this program, so I'm not real sure of how many applications have been received previously. I don't know that exactly, but it appears to be that it is more than what we normally receive.
Awesome. Thank you.
Especially for home improvement. I can speak to that because we've helped 10 homes this past program year, and I don't think we've ever done that in the past.
Thank you.
Linda, I'm going to ask a question, and if you can't answer it, I know Dawn's in the audience, and if she can't answer it, Shannon's in the audience. If she can't answer it, then
I have
nobody can
good
answer it, but, or Fred can answer it. But I think last year when we asked about the comment period on this program, I think the response was 0. Yeah, nobody responded on it, which is really unfortunate. I mean, you're trying to build support for a program, and then we don't hear from anyone. And so my question is, again, this year, you had a slide on that, but what kind of feedback did you get? Public input or comments back on the plan?
We received no comments during that public comment period.
Shannon Grow, Community Development Director. So we didn't receive comments on it, but we do put it out for, and to answer your question, yes. I think, although we may not have gotten comments on the proposed action plan, there has been an uptick in the applications. In fact, there had been years in the past where we had more money than applications. Today, that's not the case. We have more requests than money available.
Councilor Litke.
Really quickly again, because the school district and then Alpha Valley Cares projects.
The school district has a program, it's called the LIFE program, where students and their families that are in need actually come through for some counseling on what the problem might be or what their solutions might be. And they do that upfront vetting of applicants for that funding, and then they request funding from the CDBG program to help with rent and utilities and that type of thing. The LC Valley Cares is going to be just helping with supplies for homeless people, meals, I don't know, blankets, that type of thing, outreach.
Councilor Litke.
Comment follow-up in regards to Skyview Estates. Well done.
Mayor,
Councilor Forsman.
with the village program one, they're kind of in the middle still of trying to get a bunch of stuff approved. What happens if there's a snag in that process with regards to funds?
The application was submitted with a manner of that the exact location had not yet been determined. But once that was determined, the different needs that would need the CDBG funding for, and that would be improving the infrastructure, maybe establishing the land area where that village will go.
So just so I understand, the monies won't be awarded until that is all approved and
Exactly.
those parts are.
That's true. And we do have a year to make that happen.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Lidke?
Just to maybe clarify for the council, that the HUD requirement is that you have to submit invoices. If it falls through, then the money goes back into.
Fred, I'd just like to comment, I've seen the improvements on Burl, and they look very nice. Thank you.
I'll be sure to give Kyle a pat on the back when I see him at work.
Counselors, if you have no further questions, not, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.
Councilors, we'll move to item B, 2024 CDBG Action Plan. Considering approval of the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan. This is an action item.
Mr. Mayor,
Counselor Lidke,
I would move to approve Development Block Grant Action Plan.
Second.
been moved by Counselor Lidke, second by Counselor Forsman to approve the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, councilors. Next, we move to the consent agenda, Roman numeral 5. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these issues unless the councilor so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda, considered on the active agenda under items moved from the consent agenda. Councilors.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Kleberg, Council President Kleberg.
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Been moved by Council President Kleberg, second by Councilor Forsman to approve the consent agenda. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Brocky.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Lidke,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, councilors. Next, we move to Roman numeral 6, our active agenda. Item A, Resolution 2024-17, considering appointing Jennifer Tangano as city attorney for the city of Lewiston. This is an action item.
Mayor.
Councilor Forsman.
Motion to approve Resolution 2024-17.
Second.
It's been moved by, did you second that, Councilor? Moved by Councilor Forsman, second by Councilor Spickelmeyer to approve Resolution 2024-17. Is there further discussion? Councilor Forsman, would you like to speak to your motion?
I'm excited to have you have this position. You earned it. You're always helpful and answering questions, and it's an honor to be able to be quick on the draw and make the motion. So I'm excited for what you have to offer further and see where you can grow.
Councilor Lidke?
I'm just hoping you're not a one-man show for very long.
That's rough.
Okay, councilors, if there's no further comments, Clerk Brocky?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman.
Aye.
Councilor Lidke,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, council, and I'm going to put us at ease for just a second and ask if, Ms. Jennifer, if you wouldn't mind just taking the microphone and give you an opportunity to share a word or two with us if you'd like to, and maybe introduce us to who your special guests are with us tonight, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Jennifer Tangano, newly appointed city attorney. I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to serve the city. I was first introduced to the city really when I moved to Idaho almost 7 years ago. When I attended law school, I was living in Utah at the time. I've lived all over the country in the military. I served 8 years active duty, and of all the places that I've lived at, I felt like Idaho was the most homish for me, and I've really enjoyed living here and getting to know the community. When I was in law school, I even did some school reports on the city of Lewiston, and that's how I first got introduced to Jana Gomez and Kayla Herman. And since that time, I've always maintained contact with them. So when a position had opened up with the city of Lewiston for a civil position, I jumped on it, and I have been very blessed to be able to be here and to work with everybody here. Getting to know Jana and Kayla and Bree over the years has been a great pleasure, and I look forward to serving this community more. I volunteer a lot, and I like having the opportunity to continue to do that, and I feel like serving the community has always been a big aspiration of mine. I've worked in government for a very long time, most of my adult life, and I really enjoy being able to be there and help people out and listen to the wants and the needs, and then being able to take that with a critical eye as far as legally. So I've always welcomed all the staff and the council and everybody else. If you have questions, always feel free to come and ask. And I hope to continue to serve that and be a civil servant for all of you and to serve the community as a whole. So I have my husband Randy here and my son Lorenzo. Randy is one of the main reasons why I want to make Lewiston my forever home, because he is a Lewiston resident through and through. His family goes back a long time. His parents recently retired. They owned Clark Communications, and so they have a very big foot in the community themselves. And I like being able to, be a part of that family and enjoy everything that they've welcomed me into. So, thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Next up, Lorenzo is going to lead us in, okay.
He's like,
All right, buddy. All right, next, council, we move to item B, resolution 2024-19, considering restating and amending community development department fees. This is an action item. If you need Community Development Director Grow to stand before you, she may. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Lidkey?
I would move to approve resolution 2024.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Lidkey, second by Councilor Spickelmeyer to approve resolution 2024-19. Councilor Lidkey, would you like to address your motion?
I'm making this motion. Development did an excellent job at assessing these. Business.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other council comments? Hearing none, Clerk Brockie?
Council President Kleber,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman. Aye. Councilor Lidkey,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Next up, item C, First Amendment to Clearwater Paper Lease Agreement, considering approving the First Amendment to the lease agreement between the City of Lewiston and Clearwater Paper Corporation, authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. This is an action item, and we have Captain Clone with us here tonight to present or answer questions. So Captain Clone, I'll turn it over to you.
Jeff Clone, Captain, Lewiston Police Department. It says Captain Reese on there, but his daughter's playing softball tonight, so you get me. But I'm familiar with the contract. It's just a renewal of the contract we've had with Clearwater Paper to use their property for our range. It's still like $1 a year lease. A lot of it was just updating language, a lot of the stuff the city attorney's office, who can identify and what needs identified, things like that. Clearwater paper's been great to work with. If you have not been out there, I know some of the city council has been out there and have seen it. If you have not and you'd like to, please let me know. I'd love to get you up there. You can kind of take a look at it. Otherwise, it's just a continuation. There's no changes. There's no cost additions. It's just allowing us to continue to use that range. We continue to control it. We continue to allow who is allowed up there, which we share with numerous law enforcement agencies. And then there's going to be an update to everybody who goes up there will have to sign a waiver release for if they're injured. That's been updated through the city attorney's office. So we'll have to get that to all of our department and all of the agencies that use it. But otherwise, it's really nothing different, just newer language, but allows us to continue to, so we can train up there at the range.
Thank you, Captain. Councilors, any questions for Captain Clone? Councilor Forsman?
With the lease, I kind of was trying to make sure I understood everything. I talked some about here and making modifications or repairs. How is it in respects to Clone talking about us making updates to the range? Is that gonna hinder us anyway or cause?
No, we just have to tell them we're doing it. I guess they could say no, but they never have. They just want to know. They don't really use that area. So as long as we tell them, hey, we want to put up a building, we want to update, we have the one big shed up there and then the two smaller ones. It just allows them to know what we're doing up there. But that was in the last one, I believe, as well. But we've never had any issues. They just want to know since it is their property.
Councilor Spicklemeyer?
My question was on the same line, so.
Okay. thank
Yeah,
you.
they, like I say, Clearwater Repair has been great to work with. We've never had any issues with them. And when we talked about when we were given that $150,000 for updates up there, they were just like, yeah, just let us know if we're gonna do the drainage and things like that. So they're great.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Lidkey,
for a motion,
motion's in order.
I'd move to approve the First Amendment to the lease agreement between authorizing.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Lidkey, seconded by Councilor Forsman to approve the First Amendment to the lease agreement between the City of Lewiston and Clearwater Paper Corporation, authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Clerk Brocky?
Council President Kleber,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Lidkey,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spicklemeyer.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Captain.
Thank you.
Next up, councilors, item D, Community Center Transit Project Funding. Considering approving the funding agreement with the Idaho Transportation Department in the amount of $798,669 and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement. This is an action item, and we have our transit manager, Ms. Suzanne Senior, with us here tonight. Suzanne, welcome. Please remember to speak up loudly, clearly. The floor is yours. Thank you.
But Suzanne Senior, Transit Manager, City of Lewiston. I have two items before you tonight. First, we'll talk about the Community Center Transit Stop funding, and then the contract for the construction of this transit stop. The transit stop was first awarded federal funding through ITD back in 2020, but it was delayed when our urban status was questioned at the time, so we delayed it. The transit stop consists of a bus pullout into the right-of-way, and I can show you what that looks like. A shelter for riders, restrooms for both the public and a lock stall specifically for the drivers, as well as a pedestrian path. Because this is off of Lincoln Street, a pedestrian path goes up to the front of the community center for any pedestrians that want to walk up there. The project objectives for this project were to increase safety, to pull the buses away from the front of the community center, bring them to this side in the right-of-way. Buses can pull up so much easier. You really never want to put a public bus in a parking lot, never. And then it also gives the riders more amenities. Sometimes the community center's closed. It will also pull the transit activity away from that front of the community center and put it over to the side. We went to bid in December 2023. The bids we received were 3 times the engineer's estimate, which was a big blow. but we were able to secure funding in the last 4 months due to the MPO helping out with funding for 5339, which is bus and bus facility funding. That's the actual FTA grant number. Due to some funding that another MPO couldn't use, and then due to the fact that ITD was going through its 2-year federal funding cycle. I want to say that this is a very fortunate time for infrastructure funding. This administration, presidential administration, has given away more funding in the FTA realm than I've ever seen before. And that's the other reason why we were able to receive funds. So we were able to secure the additional funding plus 93% of the local match. And that just happened to be lucky. I was here before you before with ITS, the Intelligent Transit Software funding. We used a grant. We paid for the software for both of us in the Asotin County PTBA, and then they paid us back in cash. So we happen to have 93% of the local match already accounted for in this funding. And then we're asking the City Council tonight to approve the additional funding agreement, and then after this, the contractor's contract. This is just a picture of what it looks like when just 2 of the systems are in front of the community center. And then we have another, City of Lewiston vehicle in there, and you can see there's people waiting. They go in between the vehicles. There's other people sitting in other locations. We really don't feel like this is a good idea and a safe way to transfer passengers from all 3 systems. So you see the Asotin County Public Transit in front. That's our own van. Our service isn't there yet. And then that's Appaloosa Express in the back. This is an overview of the parking lot of the community center. You can see that right up by the front, we're pulling the activity away. You can see the little transit stop icon. We're pulling the activity away over to the Lincoln Street. It'll be a bus pull out into the sidewalk. The trees will be removed. All 3 buses can then line up conveniently. There'll be a concrete pad right there. As well as a shelter and restrooms, and I'll show you an elevation of that in just a second. I just wanted to give you an overview and then how that path would go to the front of the community center for pedestrians, and that's mostly for individuals to be aware that there might be pedestrians in that path when they go through the parking lot. These are 2 views of what the shelter and bathrooms will look like. The top is facing northwest. It's 93 feet long. We'll have bathrooms. The bathrooms are not a bathroom you can lock yourself in. You can lock the stall inside the bathroom. The bathrooms then can automatically lock on a time, and we plan on locking it after transit service closes at 7 p.m. And then there's a private bathroom for the drivers themselves. That'll be under a key card. So the bathrooms will only be open during the time we're there. Then you can see there are benches. The benches will be built so that you can't lay on them comfortably. They'll be sectioned. We're doing things to ensure that the shelter's used in a manner that's appropriate for a rider shelter. We also have 4 panels of glass to help break the wind a little bit, but the back's completely open of the shelter. It's not a place you can really go in and huddle easily. And then on the back side, that's facing the parking lot. There'll be trees actually built into the shelter so that the tree canopy can help shield the asphalt and create shade. Because we realize we're taking some trees out, but we're replacing all of the trees that we're taking out. There'll also be trees on both sides of that structure. This is what the funding looks like. The top line is our initial construction funding that we had. And we have the local match budgeted. The total was $356,000. We thought we were going to be just fine with the engineer's estimate at about 260. The additional funding we were able to raise was $798,669. federal funding. And then the city match would come to 199,668. We have that 184, of that amount, we have 184,900. That's what we received from the ITS software. And then we're asking for an additional 14,768 in reserves. So the total there for the additional funding is 998,337,000. And then you can see what the total funding is. Now, this is in excess of what the actual construction contract from Keniston is. It is our hope that we can use the additional funding for 2 other projects at the community center that are transit related. One is a secure fenced in area for our buses. And the other is for us to remodel the offices in the transit center or in the community center for transit purposes. And then the other last entry is the lowest bid for the community center construction at $930,851,000. So really tonight, you know, the budget impact of this is we're asking for 14,768 to put into transit reserves, or to come from transit reserves, excuse me. And Transit's requesting that the City Council approve the funding agreement from ITD in the amount of $798,669,000 and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement. I stand for questions.
Suzanne, Councilor Spickelmeyer?
Thank you, Mayor. So Suzanne, I'm wondering, that picture you had of the bus stop,
Hope I can go back. There we
so
go.
what was the determination that we needed something so big?
It was that we have 3 services that all come together at the same time. So people will stay in their own services. So that's what we felt, was having a shelter that was big enough to accommodate that would be helpful. And then bathrooms, when the bathrooms are closed at the community center, we did want to have bathrooms. They're 1 stall each though.
Councilor Spickelmeyer?
I also had a question about the contract I was looking at. Are you going to go through that next?
Yes.
Okay, so I won't go over that. So the acceptance of this $798,000 is contingent upon building this transit stop.
This funding's in excess of the transit stop. So this funding, yeah, I guess. I'm trying to think of how you're asking the question. I just wanted to make sure you understood that there was more funding here than the contract is asking for. And yes, it is. It's a bus and bus facilities grant, and it's specifically for us to do this project.
Councilor
So then if the transit stop, the next motion here, the transit stop isn't approved, the grant's no good.
I would have to see if I could change the scope. It would still have to be a transit stop. It would still have to be at the community center. I'm not sure that I could change the scope. I know then that the contract with Keniston wouldn't be valid. Other questions?
I don't see questions at this time. Suzanne? Are you,
Asking for $798,669?
still? Okay. Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, councilors, if there are no further questions, you have Community Center Transit Project funding before you. Councilor Forsman?
I'm sorry, I thought a question, is it too late?
Pardon me?
Is it too late for a question?
No, it's not.
Okay. With the reserves, was this something that we were planning for, or were we planning to allocate those reserves for a specific purpose? Just
No.
transportation reserves, is there?
No, we have our reserves like other departments too, and I checked with Amy and using the 14,000 was just fine.
Okay.
Motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve the funding agreement with the Idaho Transportation Department and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Been moved by Council President Kleberg, seconded by Councilor Lidke to approve the funding agreement with the Idaho Transportation Department and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Councilor President Kleberg, would you like to address your motion? If not, I will ask for the roll. You good?
Straight up, yep.
Councilor Lidke?
Clarify once more, we've already budgeted.
We've budgeted the 71,000, what we thought was the match we needed for the project. So we did budget that. The software came about unexpectedly, the ability to raise the other funds. So that was unexpected and not planned in this year necessarily. Buying the software was, but how it came about, not necessarily. So if you'll see, the 71,229 was the initial budgeted. We need a total of 199,668 for this funding. We have 184,900,000 of it in addition to the 71,000. So we're only short 14,768. You bet.
Okay, councilors, you have a motion before you. Clerk Brocky?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Lidke,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you, councilors. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Councilors, next up, we have item E, IB-23-020, Lewiston Community Center Transit Stop, TR 060, and considering accepting the bid from Keniston Corporation for the Lewiston Community Center Transit Stop in the amount of $930,851, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. This is an action item. Again, we have our transit manager, Suzanne Senior, with you. If you have any questions, if not, I would entertain a motion. Councilor Spickelmeyer?
Thank you, Mayor. So, Suzanne, you're looking at the contracts. You had the three, the original one from several years ago and the two. Doesn't it seem odd that some of the bids in this contract were $100,000 differences in one line item?
Yes. And so we do have a plan to sit down with Keniston and talk with them once the contract's negotiated and identify some areas they said they could potentially cut back at. But these are local suppliers, and I have to obey Buy America rules. And the Buy America rules oftentimes make things extremely expensive. And some of the contractors have experience in different areas. They have different contractors that work for them. So to see it swing widely is disappointing. Absolutely. But I hate to say this, it's a smaller project, and I'm happy that we had gotten 3 bids and that 2 were valid. So their approaches are probably very different.
Counselor Spickelmeyer?
I get to follow, and just a comment for me, you know, the big thing I think for me, Suzanne, is I really appreciate the effort you put forth to this and getting the grants, you know, and a grant is taxpayer money too.
It is.
But to me, $1 million bus stop's kind of hard to swallow.
Yeah. Concrete is very expensive right now. I understand.
Mayor.
Counselor Forsman?
Just a comment. I do agree. That's why I was kind of hesitant. Obviously, it's a big price tag. But a city does need to worry about their transportation. It helps with growth and those that can't, maybe kids or families that are not able to afford a car to get to the area. So I think it's important that we put our best foot forward to try to make that better for everyone involved, that use our transport system. I still plan on doing it. I am going to pick a weekend where I take my kids and we go just right around the bus. It is on the docket of plans. Just gotten busy. But I do, with that said, I do want to say I appreciate your hard work with getting these grants. I know that they're not easy to get, and it's a lot of footwork and justifying it, and to get the two on top of it to make sure we were trying to get as close to paid for as possible it's admirable, and I thank you for your hard work on that.
Counselor Lidke?
My one concern and why don't want to lose out on the ITD grant. Talked about consolidation and possibly rid of some of our city properties, and so my only worry is that if the community bus shelter that we then abandon. So I guess that's where can we say with all. That question can be answered. So that is why I'm more hesitant, not so much that I know what it build anything right now. I told myself at projects I'd like to complete. So timing is everything, but also long-term planning.
And I have not heard that concern, so I'm just letting you know that.
Need a motion.
Counselor Kleberg?
Make a motion to award IFB-23-020 to Keniston Corp. and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract between the city of Lewiston and Keniston Corporation.
Okay, motion dies for lack of a second. Thank you, Suzanne. Councilors, next we move to item F, Resolution 2024-24, considering approving a revised City of Lewiston personnel policy. This is an action item. We have our Human Resources Director, Nikki Providence, with us here tonight. If you have questions for our director, we can have her take the stand. If not, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Lidke?
I would move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Lidke, seconded by Councilor Klein, to approve Resolution 2024-24. Councilor Lidke, would you like to speak to your motion?
I'd just like to say that I think Providence did a great job. You did scare me a little because I didn't realize that it switched to a clean copy, and I kept thinking, why am I reading this again? And I thought, boy, this is a really long personnel manual, but no, it looked really good and well done.
Counselor. Clerk Brockie?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Forsman,
Aye.
Counselor Lidke,
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, counselors. Thank you, Director Province. Counselor, next up, item G, ordinances. Number one, first reading, first, second, and third readings, pardon me. A, ordinance 4919. Considering adopting the termination budget for the Lewiston Urban Renewal Agency Revenue Allocation Area Number 4, Main East, Maine, to terminate revenue allocation for Area 4, Main East, Maine, effective January 1, 2025. Ensure payment of any delinquent property taxes post-termination. Distribute any surplus funds as of September 30th, 2024, according to Idaho Code 50-2909. Sub 4, record the ordinance map and legal description with the Nez Perce County Recorder, Assessor, and Idaho State Tax Commission, and provide copies of the ordinance to affected taxing entities. This is an action item. If you need to hear from our Community Development Director, Shannon Gross, she's here tonight. Your choice, counselors. I'm looking for some help here if you want that. If not, I would entertain a motion. Council President Kleberg?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since I'm the council liaison for the URA, yes, we've discussed this at some length over the last few months, and there really wasn't anything going on out there that required the necessity to keep the area open and diverting the tax increment funds into the URA. So we as a group decided to go ahead and basically get rid of the that area and put it back on the normal tax rolls so everybody's getting their fair share. I think it was a good job by staff, and also want to thank the others that were on that group making the decision.
Council, do I have a motion? Councilor Klein?
Motion to combine the first, second, and third readings and waive one reading in full of ordinance number 4919.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Klein, seconded by Councilor Forsman to combine the first, second, and third readings and waive one reading in full of ordinance number 4919. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Councilor Klein?
Motion to approve the first, second, and third readings of ordinance number 4919.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Klein, seconded by Councilor Forsman to approve the first, second, and third readings of ordinance number 4999. Is there discussion or amendments? Okay. Hearing none, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you, Council. Clerk Brockie?
Approving the first, second, and third reading of ordinance 4919. An ordinance of the City of Lewiston adopting the termination budget of the City of Lewiston Urban Renewal Agency, terminating revenue allocation area number 4, Main East Main, as set forth in the Urban Renewal Plan 2 for the City of Lewiston Urban Renewal Agency, providing that allocation of revenues attributable to revenue allocation area number 4, Main East Main, shall cease effective January 1, 2025, providing for the payment of delinquent property taxes following termination, requiring distribution of any surplus revenue allocation funds determined to exist as of September 30, 2024, pursuant to Idaho Code 50-2909, parentheses 4, directing the City of Lewiston Urban Renewal Agency to cause this ordinance, a map, and the legal description of revenue allocation area number 4, Main East Main, to be recorded in the office of the Nez Perce County Recorder and filed in the office of the Nez Perce County Assessor and with the Idaho State Tax Commission as provided in Idaho Code 50-2903, parentheses 5, and 63-215, directing the City of Lewiston Urban Renewal Agency to provide a copy of this ordinance to each of the taxing entities affected by termination of revenue allocation area number 4, Main East Main, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Clerk Brocky. Councilors, next we move to item 2, second, third readings. Item A, ordinance 4918, considering implementing the city council's decision in GNC 24-1, declaring that certain real property be removed from the agricultural transitional F2 zone to the light industrial M1 zone and amending the official zoning map of the city of Lewiston. This is an action item.
Mayor,
Councilor Forsman,
motion to combine the second and third readings and waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4912.
Second.
it's been moved by Councilor Forsman, seconded by Council President Kleberg to combine the second and third readings and waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4912. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilor Forsman.
Motion to approve the second and third reading of number ordinance 4912.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Forsman, seconded by Council President Kleberg to approve the second and third readings of ordinance number 4912. Is there discussion or amendments? Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Clerk Brocky.
Just a voice vote. Oh, she's got to read.
So the ordinance, the motion was to, for ordinance 4912, and the ordinance in front of you is 4918.
You're right about that.
Oh, it says on the red line at 4912. Oops.
Well, what, you know,
Don't blame it on the.
Well, that's what I'm reading. You want me to do it again?
Ms. Jennifer, how would you like us to cure this?
Mayor, I believe at this point, having a motion to rescind that would probably work the best because the votes have already gone through. And then just redoing the motions to combine and motions to approve.
Thank you. Councilor Forsman, I would entertain a motion to rescind.
I make a motion to rescind my original motion.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Forsman, seconded by Council President Kleberg to rescind the original motion to combine the second and third readings and waive the third reading full of ordinance number 4912. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Councilor Forsman.
Motion to combine the second and third reading and waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4918.
Been moved by Councilor Forsman, seconded by Councilor Lidkey to combine the second and third readings and waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4918. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilor Forsman.
Motion to approve the second and third readings of ordinance number 4918.
Excuse me.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Forsman, seconded by Council President Kleberg to approve the second and third readings of ordinance number 4918. Is there discussion or amendments? Hearing none, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Clerk Brocky.
Approving the second and third readings of ordinance 4918, an ordinance of the City of Lewiston implementing the City Council's decision in ZNC 24-1, declaring that certain real property be removed from the agricultural transitional F2 zone to the light industrial M1 zone, amending the official zoning map of the City of Lewiston and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Councilors, next up, item 3, adoption and approval of ordinance summaries. Item A, ordinance 4918. This is an action item.
Mayor,
Councilor Forsman.
motion to adopt ordinance number 4918 and approve the related ordinance summary.
Been moved by Councilor Forsman, second by Councilor Lidkey to adopt ordinance number 4918 and approve the related ordinance summary. Clerk Brocky.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Forsman.
Aye.
Counselor Lidke.
Aye.
Counselor Klein.
Aye.
Counselor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Thank you, counselors. Next up, item B, ordinance 4919. This is an action item.
Mayor.
Counselor Forsman,
Motion to adopt ordinance number 4919 and approve the related ordinance summary.
Second.
and moved by Counselor Forsman, second by Counselor Kleber to adopt ordinance number 4919 and approve the related ordinance summary. Clerk Brockie?
Council President Kleber.
Aye.
Counselor Forsman.
Aye.
Counselor Lidke.
Aye.
Counselor Klein.
Aye.
Counselor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Thank you, counselors. Next up, we have item H, reason statement CNC 24-1, considering approving the reason statement of relevant criteria and standards for CNC 24-1. This is an action item.
Mayor.
Counselor Forsman,
Motion to approve the reason statement for ZNC 24-1.
been moved by Counselor Forsman, second by Counselor Lidke to approve the reason statement for CNC 24-1. Is there discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Next, we move to Roman numeral 7, items moved from the consent agenda. Action item, we have none. We'll move to Roman numeral 8, unfinished and new business. Item A, city councilor comments. Comments shall not be related to an item currently before the city council or an item that may come before the city council in the foreseeable future and shall be limited to comments, not discussion. Councilor Kleber?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, this weekend we had a big event. That being the 39th anniversary of my wife and I going out to dinner. So I want to thank Sue for putting up with me for 39 long years and looking forward to more. She's been a champ. Can I make a comment about the bus stop? No?
Comment about the bus stop.
Okay.
Then I will, thank you, Ms. Jennifer. So I will just rule on that then and allow the comment, but it needs to be within those boundaries, please, Counselor.
Well, I don't want to cross any lines, but I guess I would just like to remind the council, this money from the state was actually hanging out there for quite a while. And in my experience of being on the council and being involved like with the MPO, which is dependent on a lot of grant money and stuff like that. If you qualify for something and then last minute turn it down, a lot of times your next requests go to the back of the line and they go to somebody else that's got a plan they're ready to act on. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Counselor. Are there other city councilor comments?
Mayor.
Counselor Forsman?
I want to remind everyone that Father's Day is this weekend, Sunday. 2 days if you're my husband, because he says it's the whole weekend. But make sure that you're showing your father's love and your spouse's love. And if you have little ones, pretend that your little ones bought your father's gifts or pretend they came from them. But just remind that, or if we didn't have dads, we want to have strong men, strong, crazy little girls that are out to change the world. So it's important that we honor our fathers and dads out there that make the extra effort to raise kids and responsible adults. So I just want to happy Father's Day to all those dads out there. Hopefully it's a nice, relaxing day, but probably not if you have little ones. So, but hopefully you get a little bit of a break. That is all I have.
Thank you, Counselor. Other council comments? Don't see any. City boards and commission liaison updates? On tonight?
Oh.
Yeah, nothing.
Sorry, I have one.
Counselor Lidke?
Historic, oh, sorry, you say Licky?
Counselor Lidke?
Just again to the development impact, I have just really been impressed with that board, and have not really grown government, but made it more efficient and succinct by bringing in players that will help us to make sure that we have funding to really start backing our infrastructure needs. So I want to commend the members of that and the staff that are continuing to be open-minded so that we can.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Forsman?
Just the historic preservation, we had our meeting this last week, or sorry. Yeah, last Thursday. And they wanted to remind and talk about the QR codes down on Main Street. So if you're browsing around and want to know history, I suggest you use them. I've used them a couple times, and it's kind of a cool little read along the way as you're walking around and taking your kids down there so they know about the history of Lewiston and how it came to be. It's quite interesting. So again, the QAR codes on the side of the historic buildings that you can put your phone up to, and you can read about Lewiston. So, and that is all I had on that.
Thank you, Counselor. Other boards, commission liaison updates. Mayor comments. See, first of all, it's early, but just to let everyone know that the Judy Smith blood drive is coming up, I think, the first week of August, so we can start planning for that. I think that has been a pretty important event for the city. And that's all that I want to comment on tonight, because I want to honor not talking about an item that could return. So, number D, agenda topics. Oh, okay. Adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Forsman, second by Council President Kleber to adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.